Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what is going on? This is Jeff Hartman, editor of BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. I am really, really excited, and I'm glad you're joining us for this special 2020 NFL Draft Results Show where myself, Dave Schofield, Lance Williams, probably Brian Anthony Davis here in a few minutes, are all ready to break down every single pick that they make, and they've made their first selection of the draft in the second round, pick number 49. They take Chase Claypool, a big, tall, fast wide receiver out of Notre Dame. Lance is excited. I can't believe this. Lance, mute your television and then tell us what you think.
Sorry for the mistake. I'm so excited. My TV is on. I'm juiced up. They got the big X receiver. They got the Plaxico Burris guy is back. Yeah. They give big bionic Big Ben a weapon that he needs. We need points. We need to score. They give him weapons. I would have been happy with Dobbins, but they give him the big wide receiver. I just love it. And I love how he complements the rest of the players. He's a prototypical X. You put Juju in the slot, and you got Johnson as your Y.
Yeah.
I just love that. I'm juiced,
all of a sudden,
baby.
All of a sudden, the Steelers wide receiving core is pretty stacked, in my opinion, because Claypool is a guy, for those that don't know, and he's one of those players that had been mocked to the Steelers. So therefore, I did a little research on him. He can be an impact player from day one. You don't need him to know the whole route tree. His skill set is red zone target. They need that, as well as deep threat. Now, for those of you that might be listening to the show, or maybe you're watching the draft, or maybe you're just listening in audio and you don't know anything about him, here's what his NFL draft profile says about him. The comparison to former teammate Miles Boykin is an easy one since both have elite size and explosiveness, but Claypool has a higher ceiling and is a little more pro ready. Claypool doesn't have to shake to get much separation underneath, but he's physical inside the route and is adept at making contested catches when needed. He has size, strength, speed to be devil singled up cornerbacks on 50-50 deep ball. He's a vertical challenger outside, a possession receiver as a big slot, an outstanding run blocker, and immediate coverage ace on special teams. His elite traits and diverse skill set could allow him to create a unique footprint as a pro. Let's go to the weaknesses, because his strengths are obvious if you just listen to that. His weaknesses, they say very little wiggle or juice after the catch, pedestrian release to challenge coverage, an average getting in and out of the break point, inconsistent balance out of intermediate breaks, will face heavy dose of contested catches, needs to get better at stacking cornerbacks on deep balls, can be late with catch-ready hands, and not a natural technician as a ball catcher. That, to me, you're nitpicking. You're really trying to find weaknesses in a guy's game when you're going to that point. But Dave, you hated Deontay Johnson. I think you still do. But did you like this pick of a wide receiver?
Brian gave me this. He wouldn't give a thumbs up. So this is Brian's hated pick. Brian hates this. He will hate him for 1 year longer than you guys accuse me of hating Deontay Johnson. Although I have my signed Deontay Johnson mini helmet. I'll have to bust that out for the show sometime. Let's just say this. I trust the Steelers when it comes to deciding if the wide receiver is the right guy or not. According to the SB Nation top 200, this was the biggest reach of the second round. Second biggest reach, because the pick right before them with Seattle wasn't even in the top 80 that I had on this paper. So that's what I got. I like it that because I trust the Steelers.
It is what it is.
Let me give you, Jeff, some combine results from Claypool that I have up here. 6'4", 238.
Go for it.
6'4", 238, 4'4", 240. When you combine 6'4" and 4'4", that's flat out elite. 41-inch vert.
Oh my gosh, like a tight end. It's like 6, a tight 4, end that can run a 4'4".
I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And just think about it. In my excitement, I might have misspoke. He's a prototypical X. I mean, he has X traits. I mean, that is what an X is. He enables Juju to slot in at the Y. You can put Deontay Johnson or Washington as the Z. It works. And I think the way you attack defenses is you have the prototypes at each particular wide receiver position. You have the big guy. You have the guy that can work inside. And you have the guy opposite that guy that can work outside as well. They have 4 solid players that they can put on the field in 2020. If you look at his 2019 stats, 66 receptions, 1,037 yards, 15.7 per catch, 13 touchdowns. That's X numbers. That is prototypical X wide receiver numbers. They give Bionic Big Ben another weapon. I've been saying it for the last 6 to 8 weeks. They've got to score more points. They've got to be all in about getting Big Ben the weapons that he needs. And I hope in the 3rd round, they come back and get another running back.
Jalen Hurts.
We'll see now, Mike. Ooh, well, there goes that. Michael Clark puts $1.99 into the tip jar, says Dobbins help talk me off a ledge. We're going to talk about that in a second, but I want to get caught up here. We had a couple other super chats. Pittsburgh Steelers fan 39 puts $2 in the tip jar, says why depth at wide receiver is great, could have been done later. And then you have Dave Shipley puts $5 in the tip jar. He's a super sticker. I tell you what. I never thought in my wildest dreams that J.K. Dobbins would still be there at 49. I felt that he was one of the more accomplished backs, and he was there, and a lot of people thought the Steelers could take him there. But I've been thinking this whole time, as everyone's saying running back, that the Steelers are okay at the running back spot right now, and they don't, meaning not that they're not going to draft one, but they might not need to draft one in the 2nd round. See, Lance, you're shaking your head. You're not listening to what I'm saying, which you do often, and that's fine. They will still take a running back, but I don't think they don't need to take it with their 49th pick. Chase Claypool is not only insurance if you don't sign Juju Smith-Schuster next year, but he's also a guy that can play right now. He can get on the field. So let's be honest. Everyone said it. Colbert said it. Tomlin has said it. James Conner is going to be their running back to start 2020. That's just the way that it is. You might not like it, but that's what they're going to say. And so for me, I wouldn't have been upset with the Dobbins pick, but the Dobbins pick would have been like one of those, this is more for 2021. Mm-hmm. To me, when they take Claypool, this is a pick for 2020. Lance, you're shaking your head. Go ahead.
I just think when you talk about Connor, you talk about his injury issues. I mean, if you want Connor to be the productive guy, I mean, you're going to have to spell that guy. I mean, he's shown that he can't deal with a full load, and he's been hurt. He's been oft hurt, but I think both positions improve that offense. Whether you go running back first, whether you go wide receiver second, it's still a deep wide receiver class. My point is, I'm glad that they are addressing the offense and giving Big Ben weapons. So I agree with you, Jeff. If they come back in the 3rd round and hit it with a running back, I'm fine with that. But I don't think that you can go into a season thinking that James Conner is going to be your every down back and he's going to hold up from a physical perspective.
I'm not saying that is what I think. I'm saying that's what the Steelers think.
Yes.
You've been doing this long enough that that's the way that they think. Now we have more live super chats coming in. We appreciate all this. And Andre gives us $2 in the tip jar, says that's James Washington replacement, not mine. He's referring back to Martavis Bryant. No, I'm sorry. That was Sammy Coates and Martavis Bryant. We're going to back and forth right when they selected Juju Smith-Schuster, I believe. And then Big H puts $2 in and says, so who gets the boot? My answer is no one. Maybe a guy like Deion Kane or Ryan Switzer might not make the team now. That's it. I mean, you're going to have
Deion Kane. Come on, man. It's Deion Kane. When you quarantine in a guy's house, it's Deion Kane. Come on, man.
Okay, let's break it down. Let's break it down. Dave's going to be running the article, updated depth chart. After the pick, you're going to have Juju Smith-Schuster 1, Deontay Johnson 2, James Washington 3, Chase Claypool 4, probably.
Claypool 4.
Yeah, and then you're going to have maybe Deion Kane still makes it. Yeah, and then So I mean, I don't think anyone's gone.
Can I say about the running back that Lance refuted, and that like you said something, Lance disagreed with one part. I kind of disagree with a different part. If the Steelers don't take a running back today,
they're not going to. They're not going to.
It's got to be. It either had to be with that pick or this next pick. I said this on the last show because if you're not, he's going to be buried on a depth chart. That if that pedigree coming in, he's going to be coming in with the same pedigree of the guys that you already have.
Agree.
So if you want to upgrade the pedigree, upgrade the pedigree. So them not taking Dobbins right there kind of told you something. But what is also crazy, in case you guys didn't hear, the Los Angeles Rams at 52 took running back Cam Akers from Florida State. They
So
still have not drafted Dobbins.
Dobbins is still on the board.
He's still
That's
on the
incredible.
board.
That's incredible. I would bet you a significant amount of money, and when I say significant, that's like $5.
It's super chat.
It's super, yeah. That I bet the Steelers will go defense in round 3. The Steelers will go defense in round 3.
If Dobbins is still there in round 3,
there's no way Dobbins falls that far.
I mean, we can all dream if they can get Claypool and Dobbins. I'm just thinking, man, when you're like Dave said, like Deputy Dave, Lil Brosco, pick up the Big Brosco. Loved having Big Brosco on the show yesterday. If Dobbins is around in the 3rd round, you got to go that route. I mean, my whole thing is when you go all in, and I agree with Dave and disagree with Dave kind of at the same time about the quarterback position in the room and the backup, but they're fully committed to Big Ben. I mean, the guy was hurt for a year and they restructured his contract and gave him like $20 million. And now he counts like $41 million against the cap. I mean, they're fully committed to a guy. I mean, name any other guy in America that can get $20 million for actually not going, well, not playing, but he did go to work for essentially growing a beard. So if you can get $20 million for growing a beard, they love you. So given the fact that they're all in on Big Ben, be fully committed. Don't stick your toe in. Hell, jump in the pool. Give him every conceivable weapon possible. If you get a guard, you get a running back, you get a wide receiver, you get a top. Give him everything.
Yes, but remember that having a legitimate top tier, upper echelon defense is something for Ben Roethlisberger too.
True, it is.
So I don't want. Let's not kid ourselves that he needs all. He's got a good wide receiving core. I'm not going to say it's the best that he's ever had in Pittsburgh. Running backs, we know that it leaves something to be desired. But Lance, what'd you say? They're going to sling the rock, man. Just give him receivers. That's all he needs. He's got Ebron now at tight end. He still has Vance. He's got some weapons. He has some weapons. And by the way, before I forget, Eamon puts $2 or $1.99 in the tip jar. Says, love the pick. Also great to have a Canadian. Yes, Claypool is from British Columbia. He is a Canuck from the Great White North, which every time I hear someone talk about Canada, I think of two things. I think of hockey and I think of the South Park movie when I don't know if you guys are familiar with that movie when they say,
that was
what is Canada?
College, so absolutely.
What has Canada ever done to you? And they're like, Bryan Adams. Like, we have apologized about Bryan Adams many times.
I do know who Bryan Adams is, and that is worth it.
So now we have Chase Claypool. But here we go in the live chat. I'm curious. I'm going to ask these guys this in the live chat, watching live on YouTube. And if you're in audio and you don't know we have YouTube, search BTSC Steelers Radio and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it. Grade the pick, folks. A through F, not pass, fail. A through F. I want to know what you think. Lance, what's your grade for the pick?
I'm going to give it an A. I think a big prototypical X wide receiver with that type of speed, size, ratio is exactly what this offense needs. You need a vertical threat like a Martavis Bryant, like a Plaxico Burress. You need that guy in this offense to complement the rest of the wide receivers. And I think it allows Juju to do what he's really good at, is to play that wide receiver and to work in the slot. You need that big physical presence on the outside that could potentially occupy a deep safety because of his ability to take the top off the defense. And you know Mike Tomlin wants to take the top off the defense.
Yes. Dave, grade the pick.
I'm going to say B+. I don't know as much about the player. There's some people that had him really high, some people not as much. Some people thought they might have got him in round 3. I don't think that was the case at all from anything that I saw. But he was I almost thought he was a little bit of a tweener guy. But when the Steelers evaluate a wide receiver, I trust him. So therefore, I'm probably going to change my grade as I get to break him down a little bit more. But just knee jerk, I'm going to say B+.
Okay. I'm going to say A- because I think it's a need that was addressed. Some people might say that, Was he I think he was picked right where people thought he was going to be picked. I don't think that he was a guy that most people thought would be a first-round player. He wasn't. Second round, midway through the second round. That's a good spot for him. I think he fits the Steelers' need. Lance and I talked about it on one of our shows recently with the last time they had a player that when you put him on the field, you have to shade a safety to his side was probably Martavis Bryant. And since Martavis Bryant got himself in trouble and then to Oakland and then in trouble again, we haven't had that. And I say we mean the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Lance, would you say that even as a rookie, can Chase Claypool do that to a defense right off the bat?
No, he won't do that right off the bat. I mean, in the National Football League, they're going to make you prove it.
Burn them.
Burn them,
baby.
But I think with his physical capabilities, put in the right situation, he can do that. Let me give you some more metrics on him. In terms of Dane Brugler of The Athletic, his top 100 draft port, he had him at 64. So at 64, he was a little overdrafted by the Steelers. In terms of the wide receiver position, I'm going to give you where he was ranked. Pick up Felicia. Way to go. Pick up Felicia. Way to get into the live chat. Pick up Felicia.
$5. Why don't you read that, Lance?
Let me give you where he was ranked. He was ranked 12th in terms of wide receivers, according to Dane Brugler. According to what Felicia said, she said, well, he's used to the cold, a small plus because he has no reason to continue to be a go-getter. Huh.
$5. Right. Thank you, Felicia. We appreciate it.
And he has big hands.
Does he?
Yes.
So he's the anti-Joe Burrow.
Yes, he has big hands. Wait a minute. Did you see on Twitter?
And in case you guys didn't know, the Ravens just took J.K. Dobbins.
Really? They take Dobbins when they have
weird.
They have Ingram and Justice. What is it? Justice
and
Hill.
Gus, and they have Gus. Gus, and they have What's the other guy's name? Gus.
The guy that ran in Week 17.
Yeah, that's weird that they take Gus Edwards. Yeah, it's weird that they take J.K. Dobbins. I remember
going to say that they're an injury problem or something because he was falling so far.
But that's a weird pick for the Ravens. But Jeff, on the show, I was listening to the show again, and it was absolutely comedy. Yesterday's marathon show. And I made a comment about Burrow's window dressing, about how bad that his drapes were. And it was just ironic that someone on Twitter said the same thing, that he had the worst drapes in the draft. His drapes were out of 1975. They were absolutely terrible.
So Jeff,
go ahead.
With the special teams ability that you talked about with Claypool, does that mean he is now the replacement for one Johnny Holton?
Well, we all said we assumed that would have been Deion Kane, would have been that guy. But according to his draft profile, I mean, heck, if you have special teams listed in your draft profile as a receiver, that means you must be pretty good at it. And so if he's a willing participant, Mike Tomlin will always tell you that, hey, we need guys that are going to play multiple positions, that are going to play teams. We'll see. But he could maybe be that guy. I think Deion Kane might have a better straight line speed. I don't know, 4.4. This guy is huge, people. Lance, you said he's 6'4", 238. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what they have him listed.
That is basically Ben Roethlisberger that could run a 4.4. Think about that, people.
And his 10-yard was 1.56. He did 10-yard dash and he has an 80-inch wingspan. And he's a pretty young player too. He's only 21 years of age. Here's the thing: I'm looking through some of this draft breakdown. There have been 3 players drafted in the first 2 rounds that are only 20 years of age. To be drafted in the National Football League at 20, you're just ridiculous.
Juju.
Yeah.
He was 20.
I mean, that's just so rare. And the one thing that just stands out to me, these guys come from athletically freakish families. It's not just the guy getting drafted into the National Football League, the corner that got drafted out of Auburn. I mean, how do you have your dad and your mom be Olympic sprinters? And your sister is a D1 sprinter at Auburn. I mean, can you be slow in that family?
No.
It's not allowed.
No. That's like asking my kids if they can be fans of another team. No,
It's
No,
not
you cannot.
allowed.
Yes.
Not
So
allowed.
here we go. $5 in the tip jar from Andre. Thank you again. Second contribution to this show. He said grade is an A. He's a burner, opens up the running game. The running backs are capable if the box isn't stacked against them. Remember, folks, it all connects itself. That's a good point by Andre. We appreciate the contribution.
Jeff, can I ask a question about his profile picture?
Looks like he was by a waterfall.
Yes. Is that him with the Speedo by a waterfall?
Oh, well, you were looking a lot closer than I was.
I was like, wow. I was just taken aback because it looked like he was in a sped by a waterfall. I was just kind of taken aback by that. I was like, whoa. It's a little much.
A lot of people are reading into this, and trust me, I'm the king of reading into things. Lance knows that I took the one comment by Mike Tomlin about Matt Canada and connected all these dots on my mental bulletin board. Don't read too much into this pick and the future of Juju Smith-Schuster or James Washington. If you can get 4 guys that are all legitimate players that can all contribute, you want to keep those players together as long as possible. Now, is it feasible? That's a different story. We talked about that, as Lance and I did on Wednesday on the standard is the standard. When it comes to, you're going to have a huge chunk with Ben next year. TJ is going to need to get paid. Juju is going to want his money. I feel that this pick is an insurance policy in case you can't re-sign Juju Smith-Schuster, in which case you can lean on Claypool, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, all on rookie contracts on the cheap, and you could potentially go with that. But we'll see. We'll see how things plan out. I'm excited.
Let me say this, though, Jeff. Let me say this, Jeff, and let me tease this question to both you and Dave. I think James Washington's ass is hot at seat, though.
Why?
I mean, anytime you pick another guy to come in and compete, and there's only a certain amount of snaps. I love the fact that they're going to make that room more competitive. I think Deontay Johnson is solid. I think he is not under any type of threat. When you watch him on film, his get off, the way he runs routes, I think there's always pressure, and pressure is great. I mean, pressure is one of the elements that makes diamonds. Maybe you add pressure to Washington and he becomes the guy that you think he is. But anytime you bring in a guy that's 6'4", running a 4.4 in the building, there's some pressure there. I think there's some pressure under James Washington.
Don't forget the plays that James Washington made last year with subpar quarterbacks, though. He had those, throw it up. He's going to come down with it. He's a worker. I like him. Dave, what are your thoughts? Is James Washington's seat getting a little hot?
He led the Steelers in receiving yards last year.
What was that? 300. No, you're right. He did. Yeah. He did. How many was his total?
We kind of forget what. It was like right around 750. It's not like it was all that super impressive. Andy missed a couple games, but at the same time, we just kind of gloss over him and don't really see that. The biggest thing with Washington we have to remember is he is yet to really click with Ben Roethlisberger. He's had 2 great preseasons, but not really done that much with Ben. So then he led the Steelers last year without Ben. So we just really need to see how the two of them can work together.
I think that's a good point, Dave. I think that's a great point.
I think it's safe to say that right now you have 1 and 2, Juju, Deontay, and Claypool, and James Washington will be battling it out for that 3rd spot. Who's going to be the 3rd wide receiver on 3 wide receiver sets? Who wants it more? Like you said, competition can be tremendous. Robert Henderson, he puts $5 in the tip jar, says, should the Steelers trade both 4th round picks for a 3rd? I don't know if it would take both 4th to get another 3rd round pick, but I'll tell you what, I'm putting in calls. I'm putting in calls to try to get into the 3rd round again. They have 2 4th round picks. I'm definitely trying. Hey, take my 4th and the 7th this year. And if I can get back into the 3rd, even if it's at the end, I want to do it because I think there's a lot of value in this draft on this night, Friday, day 2.
Hey, Jeff, let's do the quick draft math there. What was the trade that that he proposed? And I can do the quick draft.
He proposed both 4th round picks from the Steelers. I don't know the numbers.
So give me the number of those picks.
I don't know what they are.
124 and 135. Don't quote me. I'm just going from memory.
So 124, if you are correct, is the 48th pick. 124 is worth 48 points. Give me the other pick if that's correct.
I think it's 135.
135 is in the 5th round, and that's 38 and a half.
Dave, go to the if you go to the open thread article on Behind the Steel Curtain, I have all the picks there. While you're doing that, let me read this off. Mike Thomas put $7 in the tip jar. He said, "Broad, J.K. Dobbins to the Ravens. No, I got to hate him now." Yeah, you got to hate him now. That's just the way that it works.
That's what I've been saying.
Michael Clark, $1.99. Fournette now, or a 3rd-round pick for a running back. If Fournette's on the cheap, I would consider it.
I have no problem with it if he's on the cheap.
Consider it. Now, let me ask you this, Lance, while Dave gets that information. If
I already got it.
I have it, Dave. Okay, it's
124 and 135.
And it is, because remember, you're forgetting about the compensatory picks. There's more than 32 in a round now, once we get to round 3.
Right.
So that's why 135 is
David.
124 and 135.
So it's 124. So do the math. 48. That's 48 points. And give me the other pick.
135.
And 135 is 38 and a half. But it's weird. They have 135 on this chart here as a 5th round pick. Is that correct?
It's okay. Just roll with it. No, because of the comp picks. It doesn't have comp picks built into it.
Okay. So 135 is 38 and a half, and the other pick is 49. So that's about 88 points. If you just do easy math, we make it 40. So I don't know if that's enough compensation to move.
86 and a half is what you're looking at.
Yeah, I don't know if that's enough compensation to move. But the Steelers don't use the value chart like other teams do anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the problem is if the Steelers are going to trade into the 3rd, they're going to have to trade ahead of where they're already picking at 102. So teams are naturally going to want their 102 pick and not the 2 4th rounders.
Yeah, so, right, exactly.
So
where do you think they go in the 3rd round? Where do you think they go in the 3rd round, real quick, Jeff? Where do you think they go?
I think they're looking at a linebacker. I think they're looking at edge, inside, or a hybrid linebacker safety. There's several of those out there. That's where I think they go. I think they go defense. I said that earlier. Dave, what do you think?
I agree.
I'm going specific. I'm going Tyler Biadasz, or however you say it, guard/center from Wisconsin.
I want the Michigan linebacker, Uche, or whatever his name is. Give me that guy.
Sure,
Uche, whatever. Give me that guy. Yeah, he could be even off the board. My TV's off right now. I'm not following Twitter. He could be off the board. I don't know. But hey, here we go. Andre puts another $5. He is a big-time spender tonight. He and the waterfall. Like Lance said before, Ben didn't get a new elbow in a contract to hand the ball off. That's right. Chase Claypool. Going deep, baby. Let's get jacked up. That's what I'm talking about.
I like that. That's a good one. That's something I can get behind.
Yes, he listened to that show.
I didn't get a new elbow. I didn't get a new elbow to hand the ball off. That should be a T-shirt. I'm actually going to contact
the exact quote from that show. I didn't get a new elbow to hand the ball off. I'm a slang that. I'm a slang.
There you go. That's good. Viper 7290 says, "What would you guys do if they pick an offensive line with the next pick?" Love the shows. Thank you, Viper. I would be okay with that. If they go guard, a flexible guard center, I would be fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. No doubt about it. But here's my question for you, Lance, because we talked
youth on that offensive line.
They do. They do.
Line is old, so no problem.
Here's a hypothetical. So they didn't go after Dobbins. They didn't go running back in the 2nd round. They went wide receiver. How pumped would you be if they end up trading, let's say, a 6th round pick or one of their 4th round picks to Jacksonville for Leonard Fournette? And so they bring Fournette into the fold as a veteran running back. And now all of a sudden you're adding another tool to that offense. You excited, or are you kind of like, meh, is this necessary?
Man, I might put on some Steeler pants, some Steeler
BJ Finney pants? You going to get your Finney pants
I might get my BJ Finney pants. I'd be super juiced. Man, backs get hurt. You're going to need backs. I would love to throw Fournette Connor at people. I'd love to be able to thunder and lightning. Well, it'd be thunder and thunder. I'd love to be able to thunder and thunder people with those big bruisers. Man, just beat people up. I mean, I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm from the north side. I'm from around the corner from Heinz Field. I like watching running backs run through guys' chests. You know, hey, it's fantastic. There's nothing like getting a Peppy sandwich, a Miller's High Life, and watching a running back step in somebody's shoulder and just smash them and break their shoulder pads like the bus did Brian Urlacher. I love that. So if they went and got Leonard Fournette, let's go.
Dave, what do you think about that if that were to happen?
I just think it's funny because he's talking about a runner that just runs through someone and breaks their shoulder pads and stuff like that. And you know what's the closest thing they have to that on the Steelers right now? The guy you hate the most.
Yeah,
so
but he's hurt,
so you need
two of them. So you need two of them. You need two physical guys.
Not to go with Connor, you mean to go with Snell, because Snell fits that better than anyone else on the roster.
Though. I mean, he's a good goal line guy.
Yeah. But I mean, he's more of that than anyone else to have on the roster. You know what? The question is, maybe they have a whole different plan with how to use the running back, especially if Matt Canada is going to be around. Maybe they're going to go with more Jalen Samuels-esque stuff. You know, it's hard to say.
So it is tough to say. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where they go here. Where are they right now in the draft? Anyone have that in front of them? Like I said, my TV's off.
58, but I didn't hear it.
58, Minnesota. Ezra Cleveland from Boise State was selected by the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, I missed pick number 56.
Go ahead, you guys. I'll pull that up on ESPN.
I got all the rest of them, but I missed 56. So. Sorry. I got to remember to talk into my mic.
That is okay. I'm getting Mr. Brian Anthony Davis's article ready to go. All right, so we'll see where we go. I want to give all the listeners out there an opportunity to know what's going to be happening for the rest of the evening. Dave, how did your show go earlier, you and Brian?
The audio might have been concerning with Brian. He was breaking up a little bit, but we're hoping we can get him set a little bit better with his signal. If that's the case, we're going to go live again before the Steelers' third-round pick.
Yes, I like that idea. So they're not in the fourth. They're not in the third round yet, are they?
No, they're not.
They're not until 65 was the first pick of the third.
So here's what's going to happen. We're going to do this. This is going to be a little shorter show, and we're going to go off the air, and then we're going to get Brian, Dave, and if Lance wants to join him, he can. I don't care. I won't be there.
I'm going to continue drinking. I'm pumped. I'm drinking Canada Dry, baby. I'm drinking Canada Dry like yesterday. Let's go.
Just me.
There
Thank
you go. So what'd you say?
Just me put in the live chat, Raekwon Davis to the Dolphins at 56 is what I meant.
Okay. All right.
Dolphins
so anyways, we will be back after the Steelers make their third round pick to do the same thing. We're going to recap it. We're going to break it down. We're going to give you our thoughts. Hopefully we get Brian Anthony Davis on here as well. Chase Claypool, the newest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go, baby. Get pumped. You should be pumped.
And I'm going to do a costume change. Right now, I have my Joe Green on, 75, and a green hat. You know, I'm going to do just like Mel Claiborne and the commissioner. I'm going to do a costume change. So you'll see a new jersey and a new lid for the third round pick. Let's go.
There you go. Guys, thank you. Lance, send us off real quick.
As always, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. And let's get that 7th chip, baby. Let's go.
All right. We'll see you in a bit. Stay safe.